Just a few hours ago, Elon Musk responded to a post from the first half hour of my show today where I laid out the basic evidence that the Democratic Party, with their policies, are 100% responsible consciously for the historic fire destroying much of Los Angeles in the last 48 hours.
He's so giddy to be acknowledged by Elon Musk. Instead of blaming maybe climate change or the incompetency of California leadership, like a normal person might, Alex Jones has created, again, his hysteria that is so trademark by going the extra mile and claiming that LA's fires are globalist created destruction by design. On Wednesday, Jones went live on X with the following live stream and tweets as well. Destroyed by design. Los Angeles fires part of a larger globalist plot twist to wage economic warfare and deindustrialize the United States before triggering total collapse. And a link to his live stream. And of course, the hour-long stream was filled with misinformation. I'll call it disinformation because he knows better. Here's a little taste of it.
And you look at what's happening in Los Angeles right now, at every level, at every step of the way, this is not mismanagement. This is perfect administrative, economic, industrial sabotage. This is murder. This is destruction. This is scorched earth. This is siege by design. So this is a designed economic warfare system that they've been developing really since the 50s in the globalist publications and battle plans that we've made films about, written books about, covered ad nauseum here. And they call it the rewilding, the deindustrialization plan, 1992, Rio de Janeiro, the Earth Summit. They passed the Club of Rome Limits to Growth plan, and they list all the things they're going to do. Get rid of farming, most farming, get rid of fertilizer, get rid of the nuclear family, get rid of single-family homes, depopulate the planet.
Yes, get rid of most farming in California, which is one of the farming leaders for the planet. They've successfully gotten rid of that, apparently, according to an incoherent loco mind. I love how Alex Jones always has the exact details of the multi-layered, multi-step approach, the plan of the globalists to ruin all parts of society, but somehow never has it right before the disasters, never warns us in advance. But this moment it happens, here's the 12-step plan I've been aware of from minute one, and I'm dropping it on all of you. He also falsely claimed Joe Biden's been grounding firefighting planes trying to contain the fires, as if he'd be able to be alert enough to make such an order. Despite the absurdity of his claims, Alex Jones has at least one supporter of this theory, and it's Elon Musk, who tweeted in response to the live stream, true. And of course, he deleted that tweet, but that didn't stop Alex Jones from running with it, because Elon Musk always tweets the truth, right? He responded back to Musk, I know you're fighting the death cult on many fronts, Elon Musk, but please bring your massive spotlight into focus on the critical issue of administrative terrorism. Well, according to Washington Post analysis, Musk has posted or replied to more than 80 posts about the fires, most of which pin the devastation on liberal policies, false claims, or racist ideas. He downplayed the role of climate change, placing blame on individual female firefighters of color, and, of course, lesbian firefighters, including posting their names and faces. He repeatedly amplified claims that the Los Angeles Fire Department's investments in DEI programs cost lives by wasting money that could have been spent on disaster response, suggesting that the destruction could have been mitigated if more white men had been retained. While investigators are still looking into the possible ignition sources for the fires, the two most probable causes are intentionally set fires. We have seen some arsonists, seeming arsonists that have been caught at scenes or caught on video in very suspicious ways or with blowtorches and igniters. But some of them, of course, could also be sparks from utility lines where they are not buried underground like they are in Beverly Hills and other cities. They are just up in the air and in a very wind-prone place that obviously can cause problems. And while there no doubt has been mismanagement by LA Mayor Karen Bass and California Governor Gavin Newsom, MAGA, of course, also wants to blame Joe Biden, migrants, the homeless, DEI, and even Ukraine. Let's go to Don Jr., who also blamed DEI by tweeting yesterday, or Xing, or whatever we're calling it now, Oh, look, of course, the LA Fire Department donated a bunch of their supplies to Ukraine. Then retweeting or quote tweeting a post from early in the Ukraine war to clarify the donation was announced in 2022 at the start of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. At the time, the department said it would send hoses, nozzles, turnouts, helmets, body armor, and other associated personnel or personal protective equipment to assist with shortages during the war. LA fire officials have not cited a lack of equipment in their struggle to contain the wildfires, but rather a shortage of manpower. So if you don't care about details, it's really fun to blame people rampantly and randomly. Curious your thoughts. Let's go to you first, Jordan.
Yeah, this is heartbreaking and it's tragic. You were saying, like, thankfully and luckily, you had a trip planned and haven't had to be here. It's the air is coarse, it's abrasive, and like you were saying, we know people. Sadly we know multiple people who have lost their homes, and if you think what that actually means beyond just shelter, you're losing like precious memories. You're losing things that have sentimental value for years that can never be replaced. I mean, it's just absolutely tragic. And to see people like Alex Jones jump on that to push this completely and knowingly bogus narrative, it's insulting. For Elon Musk to amplify that is disgusting. But let's get to what Alex Jones is really saying here, because he's creeping up to the line. He's ultimately blaming, like, among other people in power, but the underlying theme of the globalist conspiracy is the Jewish conspiracy, which is purely anti-Semitic. We've seen and we've talked about on this network for a while how fringe figures on the right have insinuated that Jews control the weather or start fires with space lasers. I mean, it's a continuation of that, and a really talented an insightful writer, Mike Rothschild, lived near one of these fires, wrote a book recently, a couple years ago. I interviewed him about it, called Jewish Space Lasers, about these conspiracy theories and how this anti-Semitism is creeping throughout our politics. And he lost his home. He lost his home in this fire. And it's just like a cruel irony that someone who is an expert on this topic and has been trying to sound the alarm about these conspiracy theories is also now a victim of this. And it's just, in so many ways, this is heartbreaking. And for some of the most influential people on the right to be pushing knowingly lies, it's repugnant.
100%. Yeah, very cruel irony indeed. As a Jewish man, what ridiculous accusations. My space laser ran out of power years ago. It, of course, has been powered by combined brain power of Alex Jones and Marjorie Taylor Greene. So there's no fuel. Jackson, your thoughts on this crazy situation?
Yeah, I mean, from what I've gathered, this is a situation that stems nationwide throughout our infrastructure. And it seems in California, there's just mass mismanagement of the water supply. A lot of that coming from billionaire agricultural tycoons who siphon off the water. There's a lot of issues with the Colorado River. There's technologies that need to be invested in, because every year this happens. This isn't like, I mean, the fire's burning in places it normally doesn't, but every single year California has wildfires. Over the last several years, there have been devastating wildfires up in the Arctic, in places where you wouldn't think that they'd be because it's so dry. So at the end of the day, what we really need is thorough investment in our infrastructure and more responsible usage of public funds. Which, of course, and that's kind of the irony in it all. I mean, yeah, the Democrats have fallen short, but Republicans have absolutely no interest in investing in infrastructure whatsoever. And they didn't say, like, when they talk about DEI, a lot of that is just because that's all they've been talking about for the last 40 years. I mean, since that's what got Reagan in office, that's a lot of what his appeal was: to screw all this civil rights nonsense. And now, anytime anything happens, that's all they have to say. Charlie Kirk, like putting up these pictures of the three women. Like, see, that's what happens when you put them queers and them color folk in charge of public affairs. Next thing you know, but again, this isn't a new issue. Every single year, California is on fire. What we really need to do is invest in infrastructure so that as these fires do happen, either we have better access to water or the engineers can work their magic and keep the fires away from different places. But the Republican parties they don't have anything else to say. They really don't. And unfortunately, millions of people in this country want to hear that and believe it. But this is a tragic situation that our federal government clearly is not in a position to handle.
Yeah, I think that's accurate. And it clearly, as you said, is mismanagement. There obviously have been issues. There were some issues with the water initially. I don't think it's been much of an issue since the initial, but when something gets out of control, it's at that point too late to stop something from becoming a great tragedy. There also definitely needs to be brush cleared. There definitely needs to be much better management of this. And the budget probably should not have been cut for a very fire prone city. To the fire department. That's just a grave error approved by Mayor Karen Bass. As the fires continue to ravage LA County, there's also concern, like we mentioned, about these water shortages and what caused them. While Newsom stated that it's a local issue, they need to deal with it there. President Biden offered his own explanation, saying, "What I know from talking to the governor, there are concerns out there. There's also been a water shortage. The fact is, the utilities understandably shut off power because they're worried that the lines that carried energy were going to be blown down and spark additional fires. When it did that, it cut off the ability to generate pumping the water. That's what caused the lack of water in these hydrants." The water shortage, of course, heavily criticized by President-elect Trump, who has called for Newsom, or New Scum as he refers to him, to open the water main in Northern California. Also, overregulation to protect certain smaller interests. Like I know certain Native American tribes were lobbying to stop certain increase in water flows and reservoirs to protect a certain kind of fish, the smelt fish. Seems a very small and misplaced concern, seeing people's lives devastated with a fire that is still many days in, hard out of control. I don't know if you guys have any further thoughts on any of that. Jordan, if you want to take it away first.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's been a lot of conversation around, you talk about the budget cut to the fire department, and there's, some people have said, well, no, that money was restored later. But the fire chief, I think we need to listen to her in this moment and not people spinning on behalf of Karen Bass. So sure, they were in the middle of a contract negotiation, but that cut was still made. It was the second largest cut to any department among all of the cuts made. Like, when you have a fire season in Los Angeles, why are you cutting at any point the department, the fire department? And what the fire chief said on CNN today was those cuts resulted in people like mechanics and civil positions losing their jobs, that made it harder for them to fight the fires as they started to break out. And there were cuts to 50 plus positions as a result of this. So Karen Bass and her team and loyal Democrats are trying to spin it and pointing to the size of the cut at 2%, but it is a large budget for a large department in a colossal city. 2% is still a lot, and every single person counts, which is why they're bringing in firefighters from other cities. So I think people need to set their partisan loyalty aside in this moment and recognize it's okay to criticize the mayor in this moment for a foolish decision.
100%.
Yeah, it's definitely okay to criticize a mayor. And at the end of the day, it's like, you act like you're not sick. It's not going to go away. It's just going to get worse. It's just January. These aren't the only fires that California is going to have this year. So we're just getting started.
100%. And if you've seen the viral clip going around of Karen Bass at the airport when she had just landed back in town a bit too late, and a reporter happened to be on the airplane and in the elevator with her, and just saying, "Do you have anything to say? You weren't here. You cut the budget. Do you have anything to say to the people?" And she stays stone cold silent the entire time. That's not only horrible leadership, but just incredibly bad political instincts. You weren't expecting to do the press conference. Okay, you still can answer the person who is filming you, because this is going to go spread around and show that you have nothing to say but a prepared comment. Really does not speak well to our leadership. We'll see once the fires are out, which is hopefully soon, what LA does moving forward. But it's going to be a long road to recovery.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. We really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.